What's going on, YouTube family? Today we're going to be talking about auto fraud. Now, 6 to 8 months ago, we talked about how it was going to get worse, but now that the economy is trash, it's only speeding up. So we're going to talk about all the scams that are going on today, how it affects consumers, banks, and also dealerships. And one last bonus scam where people are actually impersonating dealerships to steal your money. So it's no secret that the economy is trash and we're definitely in a recession. There are thousands of people getting laid off every single month, and inflation is basically eating up everybody's wallet. So now that people don't have any extra money to spend for luxury items like cars, trips, and stuff like that, it's slowed down our economy quite a bit. And because of this, now the prices of cars are starting to come down. And unfortunately, now that it's coming down, a lot of people want to jump back into the market to buy cars. But they either owe too much money on their cars, their credit's not as good, and so now they're not getting approved for the cars that they want. So how do they combat this? By doing fraud, of course. They go out there and do all these crazy things to get a car they truly can't afford. And you're going to laugh on some of these scams that people are doing. Now, the first one we're going to be talking about is a CPN. Now, CPN is a credit profile number. Now, everyone's going to chime in and say, that's not illegal, Lucky. You're allowed to have one. You're allowed to have a CPN number because it's just a number. But it is illegal if you use that to defraud somebody to get credit. That's the catch. And so there are a lot of people out here still using CPN numbers to buy cars and to do these other loans. Now, CPN is like a fake social security number. People use it when their credit is really bad or if they're rebuilding their credit or whatever else the case may be. They use these things to actually go out and buy cars, homes, and get credit cards. Now, these were really popular about 10 years ago, but now everybody's kind of caught up to them and you're basically wasting your money if you buy them. They're usually a fake number that doesn't go anywhere. There may be somebody's social security number that's already dead, or they've sold it to 5 different people. So majority of the people that are selling these CPNs are usually scammers just lying to you, telling you that these numbers are good. Just give them a couple $100 or $1,000 and you'll be able to get credit tomorrow. Don't do it. Don't believe the hype. You're going to waste your money. And then on top of that, in some states, if they find out you're using that number, they're going to cancel your loan and then they're going to go pick up the car, pick up your credit card, whatever the case may be, and you could lose a lot of money and even go to jail. Next thing we're going to be talking about are trade lines. Now, trade lines usually go hand in hand with CPNs. They usually kind of bundle them up. A trade line is when you get like a new credit card, auto loan, or a home. Those trade lines pop up on your credit, and that's what these people try to sell. Now, 90% of them are flat out trash. They're fake, not real, or they're just planning on stealing your money. But there are a lot of people out there selling seasoned auto loans, homes, mortgages, timeshares, all this crazy stuff. Most of that stuff, once it hits your credit, it winds up coming right off anyways, if it actually is real. And then on top of that, a lot of people are doing what's called authorized users. So there are people all over the internet and all over the world that have really good credit, and what they're doing is, let's say I have a $50,000 American Express. You pay me $500, I add you on there for 30 days, and then I take you off. The benefit for me, I get a free $500. For the customer, let's say I've had that car for 5 years and it's 50,000 bucks. They get all of that history instantly onto their credit, which sounds like a good deal, right? But it's not, because what's happening now is if it comes on and comes off too quickly, the credit bureaus are wiping it off people's credit because they're already hip to this game. It's not working anymore, especially now because we're in a recession and credit card debt's at an all-time high. You're seeing people basically fall behind on their credit card payments. So imagine paying $1,000 to get a credit card to pop up in your name just to find out that the person you bought it from, their credit's maxed out. So now that hurts your personal credit. Your DTI is basically out the door and you paid $1,000 to get even worse credit than you've had before. I do have a lot of friends and people I know that did this during the pandemic because they were trying to boost their credit and do all these little hacks. You see them all over YouTube, these guys saying buy all these trade lines and boost your score, but they never tell you what happens if these guys don't take that credit line off of your name. And unfortunately, a lot of people are walking around with credit cards that are maxed out that they can't get a hold of the person, they can't get off the credit line. It's just absolutely destroying their credit. And it's kind of funny because, like I said, these people are literally out here still charging money for the same burnt trade lines. So don't believe the hype. Don't pay thousands of dollars for these packages. They're selling you like a CPN number, an auto loan trade line, 2 credit cards, and a mortgage. I'm telling you, you're going to get scammed. And guaranteed you, 99% of them will tell you they only accept cash, Cash App, Venmo, all the things that you could send money and you can't get it back. That's the only way they're going to do it. If they offer you a credit card or something else like that, there may be something, but I would just stay away from it because, like I said, you are dancing on that gray line of fraud. You don't want to waste your time. So the next scam we're going to be talking about are fraudulent documents. Now, this is a problem that's only going to get worse as we go deeper into this recession. But when people go and start applying for cars and they keep getting turned down over and over again, they only want to buy the cars that they want to drive. They don't want to humble themselves and buy something basic. So what do? They try to figure out a way to buy cars they simply can't afford. So they start forging docs. And there are people out there all over the internet that will sell you fake pay stubs, fake bank statements. They will do job approvals, job letters. They'll give you business licenses. They'll give you fake driver's license, insurance cards, all these things, which is absolutely crazy. And I've seen people spend thousands of dollars on these packages to get pre-approved for some sort of mystical auto loan that they're going to get. And then they wind up paying all this money. And when they go to the bank just laughs at the documents and throws it out. Don't waste your money. You're going to basically spend a bunch of money and get burned. Don't do it. I remember we had this guy that used to come around to our dealership here in Vegas. He had this big Sprinter van and it was full of like 60 cell phones. He had a bunch of printers, emails, all this crazy stuff. And he literally did instant job verification, pay stubs, bank statements. He had all these like seasoned LLCs on his wall. So if he said you work for Bob Smith's Towing, he had Bob Smith's Towing's phone number, email, Google page. It was crazy. And that was just here in Vegas. We kind of laughed and told him to get away because we figured it was a setup or a sting. But a lot of my friends here in Vegas still use this guy today because he gives them pay stubs and bank statements so they can get people approved. Now, it does seem okay, like nobody's going to get screwed over, everything is fine, but the downfall is if the bank finds out that those documents are fraudulent, guess what they do? They actually go back to the dealership and say, hey, you sent us fraudulent documents, this deal's not real, we're going to unwind the deal. So now the bank basically pulls the money out of the dealership's bank account and the dealership has to chase the customer for the car. And what happens is every time this happens, it makes it harder and harder for customers to get a car and to get a loan. So it hurts dealerships, hurts banks, which ultimately hurts you. That's why we're trying to nip this fraud in the butt because it's only hurting everybody as we go deeper into this recession. Now, the next scam we're going to be talking about are the guaranteed approvals. There are all these clowns out here saying that they can guarantee you approved an auto loan, a credit card, business funding, a mortgage, all these crazy things. All you got to do is pay them, $2,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 up front, of course. So if anybody asks you for money up front to get you an approval on some sort of line of credit, I guarantee you they're full of shit. They're just going to take your money, kick you down the road, and waste your time. I've already gotten a bunch of messages on my Instagram of people telling me that they paid this guy for an auto loan, they paid this guy to get an exotic car, this one for a rental car line of credit. It doesn't work. You will not get any credit from these guys. Now, there are some people that do what's called backloaded deals, where if they get you approved for a line of credit, they take a percentage of whatever you get. Now, a few of those guys are real, but there are definitely warning signs and things to stay away from. So first one, they usually ask you for a big fee. So if you get a $100,000 line and their fee's 10%, you got to give them 10 grand. I wouldn't waste that much money to get a line of credit. Don't do it. Don't get sucked in. And then on top of that, let's say they do give you the $100,000 line of credit and you pay them the 10 grand. If they did some sort of trickery to get you approved, because a lot of these guys know the way banks lend and what they're looking for, if they do an audit on that account, which they're doing now, and they see there's some sort of fraud or there's something they don't like, guess what? They can cancel your account. And now you owe that $10,000 you gave them and you have no line of credit. So now you went even more into debt to try to get a credit line that you basically got canceled on. I've seen it all the time. I've seen people lose cars, credit cards, business lines of credit, and in some cases, like I said, they consider it fraud and they send the police down to your business or your home to find out what's going on. So do not pay these people to get you guaranteed credit. It's bad juju right from the get-go. Do not waste your money. I've seen way too many people get burned. Stay away from that. Now, the last scam we're going to talk about is pretty clever, but it's scary. There are people out there that are actually impersonating dealerships to steal your personal information and your money. So they'll go out and find, let's say here in Vegas, they'll find Bob's Auto Sales. And so what they'll do is they'll copy the website and say Bob Auto Sale, not sales, just sale. Forget the S at the end. They'll make the site look exactly the same pictures of cars, everything else, just different phone number and different email. And they start posting. So if people are Googling, looking for cars, they're advertising on Craigslist, all of a sudden you come across, a Jeep Wrangler you've been looking at. All the ones in town are $25,000, but this guy's got one for $15,000. You call him up, hey, I want that Jeep. Okay, you know what? We got to do some service work to it. It'll be ready in a week or two. Do you want to send us the deposit to hold it? Yeah, I'll send you $2,000 to $3,000, no problem. Okay, cool. here's a credit app, fill it out, we'll get you approved, and then we'll call you this next week with times to pick up the car. And then what they do is they take your money and they keep pushing you off. Oh, we're waiting for parts, we're waiting for something to come in. Don't worry, we're gonna have approval soon. We're waiting for the banks to send some documents. They're gonna call you for an interview. And all they're doing is in this time, they're basically sending out and selling that car to like 30 different people. Is once they get enough deposits, the screen just goes black, the website goes dead, the phone number disappears, and now you've officially been screwed. So what do people do? They're upset. They're like, oh, I've been scammed. So they go back to Bob's Auto Sales, the real dealership in the area. They go visit him. Hey, Bob, I want my money back for my Wrangler. And Bob's like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a Wrangler. Yeah, I bought it on your website. This is the guy who talked to this in the email. And so now Bob's getting destroyed by social media and everybody else calling him a scammer. But these guys got scammed by these people that are basically just making fake websites and stealing their money. Now, we talked about this a while back. I think it was in 8 months ago when it was in Georgia. Now they're starting to see it in the Midwest. So if you're looking at buying a car from a dealer, if both websites are kind of the same, just call to confirm. And it's always great to actually go there in person and talk to them. Try not to give your money to people basically on the internet. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic and how everything was set up, we can literally buy and sell a car without ever seeing you. I can FedEx you the documentation, you give me your information, and then we send out the deal. Most people send a shipping truck to come pick it up, and then the car is gone. I never actually get to meet the customer. And like I said, unfortunately, during the pandemic, it made it that much easier. So not only did there be people losing cars, but remember, some of these people filled out credit apps to actually buy these cars. So now they have their social security, they have their identification, all their information, so they could be going out buying more cars from them. Now, the guys I talked to in the Midwest haven't had that problem yet, but I know the dealership in Atlanta did have that problem where purchased cars at another dealership and then had them shipped out of state. So unfortunately, like I said, you're gonna see a lot of this stuff popping up as we go deeper into this recession, because unfortunately, all the scammers will come out, all the crooksters, because everybody's trying to bleed the last bit of money dry. It's like this every single cycle. Every time something bad happens in the economy, everybody freaks out because their normal scams or their normal chunks of money go away and they're resorting to these crazy things. So please be careful, be safe, practice a lot of things we just talked about. Don't buy a CPN, please. Don't pay somebody to get you pre-approved. It's like I said, just a big waste of money. But I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What do you guys think of the CPNs, trade lines, and also people paying to get guaranteed approvals? Did you guys know about these things? You know, have you had any experience with that? If you've been burned before, please share it. If you've even had a good experience, share that as well, because we always want to be transparent. That's what this whole channel is about. So let me know in the comment section below. Also, Monday, we got a really great video, so definitely stay tuned for that. I want to thank you guys for watching. And if you learned anything, please like and subscribe. We're on the march to 1 million. I think we only got 520,000, but we're almost there. I want to thank you guys so much again, and we'll see you next video.